So because Kamala Harris did not win, and MSNBC, The View, CNN painted them as like their Democrat darling, they are having a serious case of meltdowns. And the first one that we're going to get into is from The View about identity politics. Of course, Sunny Hostin had to take it there. You know, people can't reject Kamala Harris because her policies are bad, and we really don't think that she would be good for the job. It has to be about identity. Let's dive in here. Of course, I shared this on Twitter because I was like, oh my God.
I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. Mm-hmm. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. Mm-hmm. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment.
Cultural resentment. So let me ask you a question. Didn't this country elect Barack Obama twice? Didn't this country vote for Barack Obama twice? Was that, were people having cultural resentment then? No. What? A woman who is biracial and has a Jewish husband. This is why the Democratic Party is failing. This is why the Democratic Party is in the mud. This is why the Democratic Party has been having, over the past couple of years, a slow, sad, painful death. And now they're pretty much in the grave. You guys have chosen to focus just on identity. It's all about woman of this, man of that, first this, first that. He's black and she's black and everybody's bliggity black, black, black. And that is supposed to be enough to make people come out and vote for them. That's all we're supposed to care about. We're not supposed to ask about no damn policy. Steve Harvey told us, don't ask Kamala for anything. D.L. Hughley told you, don't you dare sit up there and criticize Kamala Harris. Leave that black woman alone. The Democratic Party has chosen to rely on identity politics to get them over the finish line. And we are living in a new era where you actually have to have policies, right? The economy is bad. People want more for themselves. People can't buy homes. People can't achieve the American dream. So you can't just show up with, I am this color, so you need to pick me because I'm this color. Jesus Louise. It gets worse. Because now they're trying to tell you Whoopi goes off and she wants to know, I don't know what she could have done.
Aside from buck naked dancing on the top of the table, I don't know what else she could have done.
I don't think she could have done more. I think she left it all out on the field. Mm-hmm. I think she raised $1 billion in 3 months. I think that she ran a flawless campaign, and I maintain that. I think now it's the time for us to work.
Aside from buck naked dancing on the top of the table, I don't know what else she could have done.
I don't think she could have done more. I think she left it all out on the field. Mm-hmm. I think she raised $1 billion in 3 months. I think that she ran a flawless campaign, and I maintain that. I think now it's.
So she did everything that she could have done. Did you hear that, guys? Everything that she could have done. She didn't offer a $15 minimum wage. Or living wage. My goal was a living wage. She didn't offer that. She didn't meet the demands of Muslim voters. She told you right there on The View, Sunny and Whoopi, that she wouldn't have done anything different than Joe Biden. Really? I don't think there's anything else that she could have done. I mean, she had Beyonce, she had Oprah, all these things. Total meltdown, man. Don't want to put any blame on Kamala Harris. Don't want to put any blame on her. And then it gets even worse because we go over to Morning Joe. And now, listen, Latino dudes, they coming for you. The same way they used to come after black people, they were coming after black men, shaming them. They coming for you now. They coming for you.
Say, Rev, really quickly, too. Democrats need to be mature, and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there is there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men. Things we've all
See, everybody hearing this? You see what it is? It's everybody's fault but Kamala Harris. Everyone is a misogynist. Everyone is a racist. Jesus Christ.
been talking about who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before. A lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
So everybody see what's happening here, right? Now, if you are watching and you are Hispanic, how does that make you feel? Does that make you want to go vote for the Democratic Party? It wouldn't want to make me go vote for the Democratic Party, just like when they shamed black men and Obama said, the problem is you brothers. Pretty sure that didn't make you want to go. I don't know what. Joe, shut up. Shut up, Joe. Be quiet. First, just a couple of days ago, Joe Scarborough was telling people about Trump voters. He said, who raised these people? So he didn't went from these people to Latino men and black men. These men are misogynist. This is what I think Nina Turner meant when she said that the Democratic Party emasculates men.
And with other Hispanics, you got some that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic. And we've got to have real honest conversations about it.
They mad because of these numbers, fam. They mad because Donald Trump went from 32% of Latino voter support to 45% of Latino voter support. And you know what makes this really bad is that you got to have Al Sharpton. Let me get this. Okay, let me get there. Okay. So Joe Scarborough was sitting up there and he's bashing Hispanic men. Then he also starts to bash black men, misogynists. Here we go with black men again. I don't think this is helping you, Democrats. And what kills me is Al Sharpton sitting right there. Al Sharpton doesn't push back or anything like that. No, Al Sharpton actually joins into the discussion and says, yeah, these black men on the campaign trail, they used to say this and this. What the hell is wrong with you, Al? Al loves that NBC check. He loves that MSNBC check. This is terrible. This is terrible. And you throwing them all under the bus. I just, they're so classist. So classist. And then it gets worse because I gotta tell you, it just, everybody is melting down, but they don't want to point any fingers at Kamala Harris, right? It's none of her fault. Don't you dare point a finger at her. Don't you dare say she ran a bad campaign. Now you'll see on this panel here with Van Jones, now they are going to use the excuse of not giving enough support to Israel. Like, I can't even make these things up, man. Like, people just come up with the most ridiculous, oh my God.
And I think there was this very powerful ad, the Republican Jewish Coalition, that was all over the airwaves. A bunch of women sitting around, Jewish women, just saying, I can't stand him, but I felt like we were supporting Israel and we were stronger and we were tougher. And I think that resonates with people.
And then to your point, the ad that came out that was beating Kamala up around fear about Israel not being protected. There was never a response from the campaign on that, which I thought was a big mistake. Amanda Berman from Zioness had to raise money running her own ads trying to fight back alone. That didn't work. So, but listen, you tied her to the economy, you tied her to Biden, you tied her to weird, and it was not a good
I agree with everything you're saying. I just didn't want to engage in the autopsy before before we've called the race and before she dropped out. But, one thing on that, the answer on I can't think of anything offhand about where she would differ with Biden. was disastrous, and there's no doubt about it. The question is what motivated it, and whether she just felt she did not want to.
Loyalty.
Yes,
Basic
loyalty. And so she should have just said, "Look, I'm grateful to him. I'm proud of many of the things we did together, and I'm not going to critique him. I'm talking about the future." Would have been a better answer, but it's easy to be on the sidelines.
Around Jewish women just saying.
Shout out to Drop Site News for sharing this clip. But Van Jones right here, right? So now it's all of a sudden Kamala Harris lost because she didn't get enough support from Jewish voters. Like they're literally going to sit here on this panel and pretend like Kamala Harris didn't lose the Muslim vote. Kamala Harris lost the Muslim vote. And they're going to say, oh no, she lost the Muslim vote. This is why she lost Michigan. It's clear as day, but they don't want to say it. And Van Jones, he's just such a kiss ass. Van Jones, wants to just be on every program and still wants to be in the scene and in the right circles. Van Jones know what this is about. So it's, she, didn't have enough Jewish voters come out for her. No, she lost the Muslim vote. That is essentially why she lost Michigan. And that's part of the reason why she lost Pennsylvania. People forget Michigan and Pennsylvania. Michigan, largest Arab American population. Pennsylvania, also, I think maybe second or third largest Arab American Muslim population. They know this was part of the reason why she lost certain states. And instead they're going to say, the Jewish voters, I guess, just felt like, she didn't support them enough. Get out of here. But it's not just CNN and MSNBC. Then you got Majority Report and Emma Vigilant, honey, I got to say. Emma Vigilant was trolling people for months on Twitter, telling people that all the polls that said Trump was in the lead were false. Emma Vigilant was one of the people that said she's going to win Iowa. All those people that were like, she's going to win Iowa off of that one poll. Emma Vigilant is also melting down in her meltdown corner.
One thing I'll just get a little emotional about is it does, as a woman, feel pretty shitty. I feel like the humanity of women and their rights, no one cares. And even in the face of Trump and everything that he represented, that's a tough pill to swallow. One thing I'll just get a little emotional about is it does, as a woman, feel pretty shitty. I feel like the humanity of women and their rights, no one cares.
Oh my God. Look, let me make something very clear. I was not happy about the overturn of Roe v. Wade. I understand, I've known people who personally have had to have abortions. I was not happy about the overturn of it. That being said, I also realized it's not a number one issue for most voters. And I think people like Emma Vigilant, what they don't seem to understand, because Emma Vigilant comes from a wealthy family. And I think when you grow up a certain way, it's like you're in like this ivory tower, white elite bubble. And so in your mind, because of the world that you grew up in, you're thinking, because it's a number one issue for you, that it's a number one issue for all women. And that is not the case. These are the types of things that I really have to send this message to a lot of like upper class liberals, in particular, white women who are upper class liberals. You have to start to understand that sometimes what's a number one issue to you to a lot of other women, especially those of lower class to you, is not their number one issue. Their number one issue is the economy. Their number one issue is keeping the lights on, paying the bills, like those types of things. So when Emma says, I feel like they don't care about women, I didn't feel that way. I just felt it wasn't a number one issue for most voters. That's how I felt. And I still feel that way. And I tried to say this over and over again. Running on Roe v. Wade is not a number one issue for most people. It also may alienate some people, some men. You guys, for the men in the chat, how do you feel about this? Because if I was a dude and there's this candidate and now they started talking about the economy at first, and then they switched to this whole freedom Roe v. Wade thing. And if I were a guy, I mean, I don't know if that's really my place. Because how would that affect me? How does that concern? You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean just because people voted for Donald Trump doesn't mean they don't care about women. Just because someone voted for Donald Trump doesn't mean they're racist. I don't know how many times we got to say this. This guy been running since 2016. Why do we have to keep repeating this? Do people like Emma not realize some people who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 voted for Obama? I know, Notori. Notori said you tried to tell them, but they told you to shut the F up. Yeah, I tried to, and it's just, now we got all these tears, people like Emma Vigilant and, the snooty, old left commentator peeps. Now, I mean, old by age, but the old school left media and stuff. Like a lot of these people look down their nose at me when I tried to tell them these very same things 2-3 years ago. Who are you? I mean, like, it just, the meltdowns for me just did. And then there's Simone Sanders, because it gets cuckoo and cuckooer. Simone Sanders is not just upset that Kamala lost. She's mad because Joe Biden was removed from the race. It doesn't even get crazier than this, folks.
Yes. But I do have an indictment of some of the strategy. And again, the people that said Joe Biden was the problem. Where's my camera?
He was not the solution. He was not the solution.
I will just note that it is probably not the best idea that Democrats orchestrated a very public stab fest, a proverbial stabbing in the front of the sitting president of the United States of America, and then didn't use him in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. I will defer to Mr. Lemire. But I do have an indictment of some of the strategy. And again, the people that said Joe Biden was the problem. Where's my camera?
He was not the solution.
He was not the solution. Whoever that is in the background saying that. So Simone Sanders, to me, just feels like, why do you continue to kiss up to Joe Biden? Simone Sanders wanted to be Joe Biden's press secretary when she was working on his campaign, right? And he chose Jen Psaki instead. And she said she was hurt that she wasn't chosen. So I guess it's like some consolation prize. They gave her this MSNBC gig, right? So she got that gig and did her own thing. And for whatever reason, ever since then, it seems like she feels like she constantly has to kiss up to Joe Biden, kiss his ass. Like, this is really giving me Massa vibe. Oh, Massa, I love you. I love you. I can't live without you. Oh, Massa. That's what it reminds me of. It's giving me Django vibes or something. Like, I can't get past this. You do not constantly have to come in and defend this man. 2, Joe Biden is not in any shape or form to continue to be president of this country right now, let alone in the future. Simone Sanders knows this. 3, you weren't saying all this back when Kamala Harris was selected to be the nominee. See, everybody got things to say now. But when Kamala was selected at that point in time, you guys were quiet. You were like, oh, let's just go along. Yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be good. Now, all of a sudden, now you want to do a show. Where's my camera? Can we go to part 2? Type V and see Eric. It's laughable. It's hilarious to me. Like, I can't make this up, fam. I can't make this up. Let's see if we can go to Eric. Can we go to part 2? Is this part 2? I don't know if Eric's. Oh, I think this is. I don't know if I'm on part 2 or not. Okay. So That's one part. Okay. We're not done yet. We're still not done yet. Here's another one talking about pollsters' reaction to the election results after predicting she wouldn't win. So listen to this. It just I can't. Oh my God. Woo.
That's why my prediction system with a 40+ year track record predicts that Kamala Harris will be a new path-breaking president, the first woman president, and the first president of mixed African and Asian descent.
But on election night, during a live stream of results, Lichtman's tune changed, casting doubt on his own prediction.
Trump is winning 51% of the Hispanic vote in Pennsylvania.
What?
That's what CNN is showing right now.
How's that possible? The world is turned upside down. That's all I can say. Is that better?
Up to the eve of the election, there was one pollster creating all the buzz, Ann Seltzer, who boldly predicted deep red Iowa would go to Kamala Harris, saying Harris would beat Trump by 3 points. On election night, Trump carried the state with about a 13% margin. That poll the former president mocked on the campaign trail.
The polls are just as corrupt as some of the writers back there. They can make those polls sing. They can make them sing. They brag about it. I got a poll, I'm 10 points up in Iowa. One of my enemies just puts out a poll, I'm 3 down. A fake poll. Hey, think of it. Right before the election, that I'm 3 points out. I'm not down in Iowa.
Seltzer told the Des Moines Register late Tuesday night, the poll findings we produced for the Des Moines Register and Mediacom did not match what the Iowa electorate ultimately decided in the voting booth today. I'll be reviewing data from multiple sources with hopes of learning why that happened.
So Alan Lichtman, we could see the woman who came up with that one poll that liberals just jumped on and said, this is the one that says that she wins, right? But Alan Lichtman, who was cracking me up, remember he is the Nostradamus of presidential elections, and he predicted that Kamala will win, and I just didn't agree with it. I said it's possible she could, but I didn't think that this was going to, I thought Trump had a better chance, and I thought she was the underdog in this race. And it's not just him. I mean, it's Cenk Uygur. He also had a meltdown.
These Democratic leaders are simpletons. They're servants of the donor class. So they go in there like, oh, donor, give me money, please. And I made an ad. I'm Kamala Harris. I'm full of joy. Okay, well, what did that get you? And they say, oh, Jake, you're too angry. Too angry? What? You think, does Donald Trump look like he's kind? Does he look like he's in a good mood? I mean, no, people want some sort of reaction from their politicians. They want them to represent them, to fight for them. But that has never occurred to a Democrat outside of Bernie Sanders, and probably we never will. So look, I have no interest in listening to a single Democratic politician ever again.
Yeah, you will. Don't get me wrong. We've seen these meltdowns from Cenk Uygur before. He'll listen to them again. In fact, next election cycle, he'll be telling you to vote for the Democrat. So I don't understand why he was so angry, because he endorsed Kamala Harris as many times as he went on to Piers Morgan's show, arguing with people about Zionism and supporting Palestinian struggle. And I totally agree with that and totally support that. In the end, he went on to Twitter and told everybody, I'm going to support and vote for Kamala Harris. And people were eating him up in the comments. So it just, you can tell this was a bad campaign.
They can go kiss my ass. They can do whatever they want. And we never listen to them anyway. And they hate us because we're right and they're wrong. They're always wrong. And they hate us for being right. Okay? So, but they're not going to learn. You have to beat them in a primary. That's your only hope. And so if you say it's super hard to beat him in a primary because of the lying sons of bitches on mainstream media who will smear you to no end, who will fight harder against progressives and populists than Republicans or Donald Trump or anyone else, well, brothers and sisters, nobody said life was fair. So we got to go fight that mainstream media. We got to destroy that mainstream media that is filled with lies on top of lies about how the politicians are so honest and the donors have no control over policy. They have 100% control over policy. Everyone in mainstream media is a liar.
I hope you guys have some fun on this show. Everyone in mainstream media is a liar. They are, but Cenk Uygur, you still supported and voted for those same politicians who have those big money donors that you complain about. So you're just very much a part of that system.
who goes, oh, well, here's a bill. Well, I'm not going to talk about the donors at all. I think they're having an ideological debate. Oh, look at that. The donor class won the ideological debate again, but I won't call them the donor class. I won't tell you that it's corporate Republicans and corporate Democrats that are playing good cop and bad cop against you the entire time. So these Democratic leaders are the most useless people on earth. If they're not all fired, the Democratic Party is out of its mind. So as the voters, you have to understand, those guys have a vested interest in protecting their own ass and protecting their money and their privilege and their status. You need to fire them. They're not gonna fire themselves. You think Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Kamala Harris, and all these people go, oh yeah, I got Jamie Harrison and Dancy. Oh yeah, I guess we were the problem. You think the Democratic consultant class that have been robbing you blind this entire time is gonna go, oh, I guess we were the problem. No, you have to fire them. So the next time that some son of a bitch on MSNBC or in the Democratic Party tells you, oh no, be a good boy and girl, be civil, and vote for Democratic leaders. They know what they're doing. Those are the same goddamn liars that told you that Joe Biden was totally fine, that he was young and he was dynamic behind the scenes, and it wasn't a problem at all. At that point, he was down 8 points nationally. He was getting slaughtered. He was down by 18 in Iowa, and I could go on and on. They've been lying to you the whole time. If you're on the left, you're a Democratic voter. Wakey, wakey. I need to wake you up out of the hypnosis that you're in, that Morning Joe and The View and all of mainstream media has put you in. They're lying to you. Why do you think they keep losing?
You put people in that predicament too, Jink, because you tell them to vote for the same people. You tell them to vote for the same people. You know, there was a candidate that had a real left agenda, and that was Jill Stein. And you didn't tell your viewers to get behind Jill Stein because she had those solid policies that you're talking about. You told them, oh, we got to go for Kamala because otherwise we're going to get Donald Trump. So you'll be doing the same thing too, bud. You do the same thing.
You think they keep telling you how smart they are and how they're going to deliver you victories. And all they ever do is deliver loss after loss after loss. So Democratic voters, snap out of it. These guys are obvious liars. Fire them all. Fire them all. And if you don't, okay, then keep losing to buffoons, to obvious con men like Donald Trump. Keep losing and losing and losing and never figuring it out. Here, I solved it for you. I figured it out. It's a goddamn corruption. All the stupid donor money, all it's ever done is lead to more losses. So if you don't fire them, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Fire them all. So epic meltdown there for our Cenk Uygur again. But like I said, he was voting for Kamala Harris. So there's that as well. And then there's also this obsession over how white women voted. And Margaret Kimberly really nailed this. She said, "Dear liberals, please stop the obsession with how white women vote. The last Democrat to get a majority of the white vote was Lyndon Johnson in 1964. Most white people have been voting Republican for the last 60 years. Get over yourselves and figure out how to win elections." Bam. That's what I'm talking about, because Margaret Kimberly lays it out. And I've seen it left and right. That's another one. Everybody's like, the white women didn't come out for Kamala. White women, why didn't you do this? Why? But according to the data, what Margaret Kimberly just laid out there, it's very telling there that obviously since 1964. So why are people expecting? Everybody is looking for someone to blame except for Kamala Harris. And then there were 2 videos that were sent my way about people just epically melting down on TikTok. Good grief.
I'm sorry. No. Why? Do you really hate me that bad? I'm sorry. No. Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
I like, part of me feels like I shouldn't laugh, but it's just, I feel like people are just so out of touch, man. This guy too. Now he has on a t-shirt that says "White Dudes for Harris." And this was another cringe thing that her campaign did. I never agreed with this. I never agreed with people separating in all these different groups. It was like white women for Harris. Okay, white women, it's time for us to use our white woman privilege and help Kamala get elected. I was like, is this for real? Like, what is that? What kind of crazy shit is this? I never agreed with people separating into all those different groups saying white dudes for Harris, white, women for Harris, black men for Harris. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, it just, but he melts down.
I can't believe Trump's actually going to win this fucking thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm so pissed off. Fuck. God damn it. I can't believe Trump's actually going to win this fucking thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm so pissed off. Fuck. God damn it.
I don't know what to say other than like, look, dude, I think if people would have gotten out of their bubbles, I don't think that they would have been surprised about the turnout. I think if people would leave their echo chambers and they talk to people who are on the other side politically, I think they wouldn't have been surprised about the way the election turned out. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.